DMVPN is one of those technologies that brings with it a lot of baggage, and that baggage is associated with the lack of understanding that people have about the technology. One of the things that I run into commonly teaching boot camps on a day-to-day basis is the fact that many students think that Phase 2 and Phase 3 must incorporate encapsulation. Not encapsulation, excuse me, encryption. Now, the element here is that we can encrypt in Phase 1, Phase 2, or Phase 3. It's regardless of how we want to be able to implement it, but encryption is part of our requirements. Now, Cisco subdivides encryption and different components in different sections in the blueprint. What I want to do is I want to be able to go ahead and just wrap encapsulation in the context of DMVPNs. We're going to do it the configuration, and what I'm probably going to do is actually see if I can employ my notepad, but we'll see how it works out, and see if we can implement it, because there's going to be a lot of copy and paste in order to get this implemented. But again, at the end of the day, it's just a handful of commands. These, however, we are going to have to memorize, and the best way to implement it is going to be look at the context of our deployment scenario so that we can learn the narrative to make it easier for us to be able to commit this to memory. So let's look at it on the equipment. So I'm going to start my configuration in the context of my hub. Now what I need to do, and let me see if I can't open up a notepad session. I'm a Mac user, so my notepad is a different critter. So let's see what happens here. New. Because I want to copy and paste, if you guys don't mind. So let me shrink this so that it's going to be in the proper place. Or try to. All right. So the first thing that I want to be able to do is I need to create the idea of my crypto keys. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a policy. So what I'll do is I'm just going to create a crypto policy. It'll be ISACAMP. And we're going to go ahead and just make this policy 1. And then hopefully this isn't going to start auto-correcting every 30 seconds. What I want to do right now is I'm going to say I want to encrypt and I want to use triple DES. Now I'm going to use a hash of MD5. Now a lot of this stuff can actually be copied and pasted directly out of the document CD, but then what we want to do is look at authentication, and I'm going to specify a pre-shared key. That's all that we are responsible for in the context of the routing and switching exam. They want us to be able to demonstrate that we know how to deploy this encryption methodology using a pre-shared key, called out by line item, just like it says single hub DMVPN. So we're not going to go overboard with this, but we do want to make certain that we cover everything we need to know. So now with that being done, I've specified my pre-shared key. What I need to do now is just go ahead and create a group. I'm going to call that group, we'll say group 2, and I want to have a lifetime on it. So how long is this going to be enforced? Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick an arbitrary figure. I'll say 8640. Sorry, 86,400. Now that's going to be seconds. So you can figure out what that is. I think it's the maximum, but we'll figure it out as we go. Now what I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and apply this. So what I need to do is I need to create the crypto ISACAMP key. So what are we going to use for our key? Well, I'm going to say the key is IP expert, all lowercase. And I'm going to do it for everything. So I'm just going to cite every address that we can work with. Actually, I'll go ahead and do it this way. Now, once that's done, I need to have my crypto IPsec transform set. So crypto, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say security, and what I want to do is I want to, actually no, it needs to be IPsec, sorry. So crypto IPsec transform dash set, and I'm going to say XForm. Now what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go from ESP triple DES, ESP MD5, since we've already specified that, and then I'm going to go ahead and just incorporate HMAC. So next what I want to do is I want to go ahead and set up my profile. So my CryptoSec, so crypto IPsec, create a profile. And basically I'm going to give it a name, Protect GRE. So protect my GRE tunnels. Now under here, what I need to do is I need to specify my security association. So let's set the security association. And again, I'm going to specify the lifetime in seconds. And we said that we would use 86400. That'll just be uniform across the board. And now I need to do another set, which is going to be set the transform set. So my transform dash set is going to be xform. So all I'm doing is just creating a policy. There's pretty much nothing to it. And then really and truly all I do is I go under my interface tunnel 0, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it. So my tunnel protection, IPsec, profile, and then specify the profile I created. I don't know why tab and autocomplete don't work in Notepad. I really wish it did. And we said we were going to call this to protect GRE. So I need to fix that. That's a misspelling. GRE. So once we've done this, this is pretty much just a copy-paste operation. So command copy. Let's go to our hub and see if we can apply it. Okay. GRE. There we go. I thought I fixed that. We'll just fix it case by case. Let's go to 4, config T, paste that in there. GRE. 5, paste. GRE. And then lastly 6. Paste. GRE. Let's take a look at these tunnels. End, show IP OSP, or show IP, show BGP. Man, DMVPN, sorry. All right, we're good to go here. Let's take a look at what's going on in the confines of detail. Because it's under the detail that I'm going to see the information associated with my encryption. So let's see, do I have reachability? So from 6, can I ping the hub? From 6, can I ping 5? Yes, I can. So I've got reachability across my infrastructure. Now what I want to do is I want to highlight the easiest ways to be able to verify this. Like I said, I mean, this is just basically memorizing what type of configurations, and security is not my favorite subject. So this is just definitely something that I've committed to memory. Also, like I said, the doc CD with regard to DMVPN configuration has a lot of stuff that you can just copy and paste and put in. However, I warn students time and time again to not become reliant upon it. You still need to be able to know how to do it without making reference to the documents. So with that being said, let's explore some of the show commands that we can use on the hub to take a look at what's happening in our environment. So let's take up here. So yeah, I've gotten this. Let's take a look and see what here. Let's take a look at the show crypto command. Now we have the show crypto, and we used ISACamp. And specifically in the confines of ISACamp, I want to look at my security associations. So what we'll say is SA, and I want to look at them in detail. Now what we're going to see here is that we have the information made available to us with regard to all of our individual configurations, how they're operating, what the system ID designations are, and what our local and what our remote addresses are with regard to what's being used for the purposes of establishing this communication. Now another key command that I highly recommend that you get familiar with is going to be show crypto sockets. Now in the confines of crypto sockets, this is going to give us everything that we need to know with regard to our listening state and how we're performing. So notice it tells me the tunnel security, profile, I'm using the policy or the profile created, which was protect-GRE, and there was also a dynamically generated map name associated with the dynamic tunnels that are being built when we start trying to communicate between sites. So looking at this, we can see that there's quite a few moving parts, but again, once you just get it basically committed to memory, what you're trying to do, understanding IKE1, IKE2, the stages with regard to getting everything connected, it's just all about the show commands to determine whether or not encryption is actually taking place. So let's take a look at one other thing here, show D or show IP in HRP detail. Nothing in there, so DMVPN detail. And here, notice multi-GRE IP. We are running a protect profile that is titled protect-GRE. So as you can see, there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of moving parts, and Cisco's not going to require us to know in the ins and outs. This isn't a security exam. But it is going to be necessary for us to understand that we need to apply encryption, but whether or not encryption is applied or not applied in the context of DMVPNs has nothing to do with what phase it is. Just like we discussed, phase 1, spoke to spoke communication, all traveling through the hub. Phase 2, spoke to spoke, dynamically created through the hub initially, and then using the dynamic GRE, multi-point GRE tunnel that's created between the spokes. Everything's good to go, but control plane traffic still traverses the hub. Phase 3, the same as phase 2, except we have those optimizations using the redirect and the shortcut commands. So this pretty much wraps up our conversation about DMVPN. In the context of quality of service mechanisms, there are some things that we're going to need to know, and we'll be covering those in our advanced topics. So with that being said, I'm just going to wrap up this portion of our video, and I'll see you guys in the next section of our preparation, which is going to be quality of service mechanisms. So I'll see you guys in that video. Bye-bye.